Welcome everybody to another episode of The Trailhead. My name is Kyle. This is Cam. Really excited to have him on here. And
excited to be here.
I'm really, really happy to have Cam up on here. It's a long time good friend of mine's older brother. Kind of was there for us, a lot of basketball stuff and
the hoop days.
And we were just catching up and talking about it. You know, it's crazy how time flies. I feel like we were balling back in high school.
It's already been 10, 15 years. I mean, my 20-year reunion's coming up next year from high school, so I know I'm getting old.
But, I'm really excited. We just FaceTime Josh, his little brother, and, it's really good to catch up. But, it's just been a blessing to get started back on this podcast. I was just telling Cam, I took a break, but now it's just I'm really excited to get to it. Just start to have interviews of men, and we were talking about how there's a lot of stuff for women, to kind of talk about their feelings and talk about the struggles that they're going through and the things that they're going through. But for men, it's kind of like we always have to have this wall, like we have it together and we have it figured out, and we don't really have feelings, or we don't have bad days or struggles, or with addiction or whatever it is, right? Or scared. So I'm just really proud of Cam. He's got two daughters of his own, and one of he's raising, so you got three total.
Yeah, three total daughters.
And I'm just really, really proud of him. Like we were talking about that. We both didn't have fathers, and so I wanted to ask you too, because you didn't have that guide, right? Like how to be a dad and to how to kind of just raise kids, which are your own and one that's not, but you as a dad, how did you do it kind of with no, blueprint?
So growing up, I was the only one that didn't have a dad. All my siblings have the same mom, different dads. And, I would spend a lot of time with my siblings and their fathers. And it was good, but also hard at the same time, because I could see my older brother looked like his dad, and my little sister looked like her dad, and Josh looked like his dad. So it was I could see the connection that they had, but I never had that connection. And I had a lot of resentment growing up towards my dad, because he wasn't there. So I always told myself that if I ever had the chance to be a dad, I would be the best father. I would always be there for my kids, no matter what. Do everything I can in my power to make sure that their lives are good and they have everything they need. And that's just kind of been my blueprint for being a father and being present and available for them in their lives.
Which I think is so amazing. I feel like there's so many of us that have a hole, especially men. I can think of so many people in my friend group, and I'm sure yours, that don't have a relationship with their father, or kind of have just done it on their own. And so I really am proud for a lot of men who don't have that and don't have that blueprint. It's like me, one day I don't have kids yet, but when I do, I know the same kind of thing. I'm going to be present, be a dad, and just because you are guiding somebody, right? You're guiding someone through life and trying to show them, and just you're at the same time, you don't have a blueprint, you don't really have a backing, so you're just, I guess, trying to go on your own, right?
Yeah, it's almost like you're winging it, because you really don't know, am I doing this right? Because you have no idea. A lot of parenting, especially, is learning on the go. Okay, I messed up this situation. How can I handle it better next time? Mm-hmm. Or I grew up this way and I didn't appreciate that. How can I change it for my kids? Breaking that generational trauma. Being there for your kids physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, whatever they need. I think that is the blueprint, and just learning as you go, because no one does parenting perfect. You won't find a parent out there or a kid out there that'll say, "Oh, my parents are perfect. They did nothing wrong." And even if they did do nothing wrong, maybe in the kid's eyes, the kid feels like, "Oh, I shouldn't have been raised this way," or "This shouldn't have happened to me." There's always some type of trauma that a kid goes through, and I think a lot of us have that, and I think our generation especially is trying to break that. I feel like our generation is spending more time with their kids than any other generation has. My dad's generation and his dad's generation, it was work. The mom stayed home, the dad went to work. You know what I mean? So to be a present father, this generation, I think, is doing a much better job at that.
And I think a lot of like men are waking up too and realizing that, right? Like it's needed. I think it's really important for like us men to have that father figure, because I'm like the least handy person there is, and it's funny because you have a renovation behind this house. Like I thought I was like decently handy.
Well, I mean, you painted cabinets.
like for me, it's been like such a trip to realize like, oh shit, and I didn't have a dad to show me even how to use a drill or anything. I was just like, it was just my mom and I, and she called someone like to replace a light bulb like when I was a kid. So just learning all of that is just always, you have to laugh about it, right?
For sure.
Everyone always has their like own kind of thing. I'm really proud of you for doing that, being a dad, and Josh as well too. Like I'm really proud of all these men in our lives in my circle who are raising children and like being present and being a present dad. And even though like how you said they don't have it all figured out or certain, we're all figuring it out together. I think that's also really, really cool. And so I know you played travel ball and you played around.
I did, yeah. I've been playing basketball since I was 5. I'm 37 now. I played pro for 7 years for the ABA, American Basketball Association, and a team in Mexico, the LMBP League. That was like the dream, growing up. I always wanted to play basketball, get paid to play basketball. That was like my dream, was to play basketball for a living. I didn't make it as far as I wanted to. Struggles with addiction and stuff like that kind of held me back. But basketball's been a huge staple in my life, and I still play 2-3 times a week now. Get the boys in the chat for open gym on Mondays and Thursdays, which is, for mental health, for me especially, it's like meditation. Getting out there and being able to just play and let everything kind of go, and I don't think about anything while I'm playing ball. It's just like literally like the most calming thing for me.
So what with like the struggles and everything, how was it, because that was your dream, right, to play basketball? How was it kind of like halting and then having to change your dream and change your life? Like what helped you and what was the struggles with it?
So, I struggled from about 17 to 30. It was a rough time in my life. I played college ball, got in some trouble in college, and that kind of put everything on halt for a while. And it kind of threw me into a state in my life where I wasn't the happiest person. I was pretty depressed and wasn't happy with life, and was just kind of working jobs to get by and pay rent. And then I got the opportunity to go play pro ball. I kind of thought that being able to do that in my situation would help me feel happy. But I was still using, and it helped a little bit, but the using always was more important. And I think that was the hardest part for me. When I got clean, I realized that even my dreams, something that I had wanted my entire life, wasn't enough because of my addiction. And that was like a really hard realization for me, because it was something that I really thought that I really wanted. And when I had it, I didn't want it. And I think that's the thing too about addicts, is that we always want something until we get it, and then we don't want it anymore. It's like the complex of having a mind that's never pleased. Like we're never satisfied. We're completely just always on the look for something that'll make us feel good. And once we have it, we want something else. So I think that was a hard realization, and something that kind of put me in this mind state of, is it something that I really wanted, or was it just something that was like a phase in my life? And I realized it was something that I wanted. I just was clouded by using, and that's what messed it up for me.
I think we were just like catching up before we started this, and I feel like it's a lot of things are so socially acceptable that, and it's crazy how, especially men, we can hide it so well.
Yeah.
People who are struggling like so deep and like so much in their heart, and behind closed doors they're like losing it, but in front of us you wouldn't tell, right?
Be able to tell now.
And I think that it's wild.
Yeah, for sure. You think you become kind of a chameleon in that sense, where you're able to put this mask on and put on a front like, oh yeah, everything's good. Even now, 7 years clean, I still put on masks, in front of my kids, in front of my wife. I want them to see or believe that I have everything together. Like, don't worry, I got you. We're going to be all right. Like, everything's working out when everything's falling apart. You know what I mean? Like, there's no, I have to put on this facade to make sure that they feel secure. And I feel like that's like a heavy burden to have. But also deep down, I also feel like it's my job. I chose to get married and have kids and raise a family. So I feel like at some point I was like, I need to be able to provide and I need to be able to make sure my kids are good and my wife is okay. And, it's been rough the last couple of years because my wife hasn't worked. So I've been the only source of financial income. I mean, granted, my wife does, everything for our family. She stays home with the baby. She does everything for the kids. She's gone above and beyond what anyone would expect, but to be the only source of financial income and being able to support a family of 5 now, it's tough, man. It's tough, especially when you're jumping from a job where you're getting a paycheck every week and someone's your boss and it's reliable to starting your own business. It was such a leap of faith to be like, all right, let's just go all in on this. We'll pray for the best. Hopefully it works out. And it has so far. So
with the leap of faith, like for your business, what's some advice you could give a man or a woman listening to this?
I think what holds a lot of people back is fear, fear of the unknown, fear of success. I think that was a big thing for me was, what if I do this and I'm really good at it? And then what if I do this and I really fail? There's always a fear both ways. And I think if I can give any piece of advice is just do it. Like, I put off taking my contractor's license test for 7-8 months to the point where I almost had to retake the statutes and laws test because it only lasts for a year after you take it. You have to take the contractor's test within a year of taking the statutes and laws. And I almost had to retake the statutes and laws because I was like, I just kept putting it off. I'll study next week. I'll study tomorrow, because I didn't want to take the test and fail and be like, see, like, why did I do that? Like, what's the point in all this if I can't even pass the contractor's test? And one week I took it off work and I literally stayed home every day, Monday through Friday. I studied. Actually, Monday through Thursday I studied. I waited till I got like a 93 at least, a 93 3 times in a row on the practice test. And then I scheduled Friday, went down to Phoenix, took the test and got like an 85 and passed. And I was like, that was so easy. Like, why was I putting that off? Like, it was just the fear of everything was holding me back. So if I could give any advice, it'd be, if you're scared, just jump in and do it. At least you know, whether you succeed or fail, you're going to know.
I think that's like, I interviewed Bill. I was telling him, like, one of my first few podcasts, and it was about the unknown, right? He had like a family and he wanted to become a social media director, and he was doing titles and real estate, and he was just like, what if it doesn't work out, right? Like how you said, like, you have a family, you have a wife at home, like, what if it doesn't work out? And then you're just scared to take that leap. At the same time, it's worse to stay in the spot that you're at than to be, like, not go where you want to go.
Yeah. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable.
So I remember, like, I was telling Cam before we started this too, when I moved to Colorado, like, I had to get out of Sedona because I was comfortable, right? Like, I had my therapist here, my mom here, my family, my friends, my spiritual coach, like, everyone was here in Sedona, so I was comfortable, right? And then when I went to Colorado, it was just like, oh shit, like, I didn't have all that stuff to hold me up. It was like, okay, well, who's gonna hold Kyle up? And when you find yourself, it's like growth is, how you said, if you're comfortable, you don't grow at all.
If you're in your comfort zone, something's not happening right.
Yeah.
When you're growing and growth is happening, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reason too for a lot of addicts that struggle with addiction. We're comfortable in this state of chaos.
Yeah.
So when we find whatever helps us get clean, the structure and the whole shift from this chaos to just having a normal life can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that's where the growth happens,
And like getting clean, how do you think that helped you with your business and family life and everything?
Honestly, dude, if I hadn't got clean, I probably wouldn't be here today. I was on the verge of either spending some time in prison or dying. And getting clean has given me everything that I have today, as far as just a life worth living. My family, my kids, our business. It's provided me the opportunity to be the person I am, because I lost myself for a while. I remember when I first came back to Arizona from Texas, and I was getting clean. I was sitting in bed, and my mom, God bless her, she helped me get back on the right path. She came down and I remember this like it was yesterday. She says, when did all this happen? Because my mom's pretty naive when it comes to using. And she didn't really know what path my life was on. She said, when did all this happen? And I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, when did you start needing drugs to be happy? And I cried, I just broke down and started crying, because in that moment I couldn't remember the last time I felt happy without drugs. You know what I mean? I couldn't remember what my life was like before I started using, because I wasn't like that, growing up as a kid. I had some trauma and stuff that happened to me. My grandparents died at a really young age, and they were like my parents because, like I said, I was the only one who didn't have a dad growing up. So when my mom was at work, I'd be at my grandparents' house. I had some trauma growing up, but I literally couldn't remember what my life was like before I used drugs. And that was a big click moment for me, that I was like, dude, my life is just, I couldn't fathom where my life had gotten to in using, and I knew I had to make a change.
If you could give some advice to someone in that struggle, listening to this and still kind of having a mask that everything is okay, but they're still either using, or whether it could be anything, drinking or whatever it is, what's some advice?
If there's any advice I could give, I would say you need to find some help, because that's not the right path. That's not the path you want to go down. It's not a path that you want to dance with. It's something that's takes away everything in your life. Everything good that can come into your life will not happen if you are using and you are struggling with addiction. Finding a new way to live is definitely the way to go. Get some support, get a support system going, whether it be family members, friends, someone that can take you somewhere to rehab or to some meetings. Because I tried to get clean by myself and I couldn't do it. I'd make it a couple days and I couldn't do it. It wasn't until I found a program that fit for me, and I had the support of my family and friends, and I had this camaraderie when I came into this program, where I could hear other stories similar to mine and I could relate. Because as addicts we think we're unique. We think, I'm worse than those people, or I'm better than those people, or my story's different. And yeah, all stories are different, but the relation between one addict to another addict is, like we say, it's unparalleled. You can't match the connection you get with someone who has a similar story to you, and someone who got clean and changed their lives. It's something that, I always say, meetings are the best therapy for me. I couldn't go get I'm not saying therapy is a bad option, but I couldn't get what I get out of a meeting from a therapist. Being able to have that relation with someone else who felt, that guilt and that shame from using and the stuff they did while they were using, it really puts it into perspective. I'm not alone. You know what I mean? I have someone who can help me. So yeah, I would say get some help from somebody.
I think that's the biggest, and creating a circle for us too, how we were talking about, who's in your surrounding circle is so important.
Yeah.
So important. If you're with a bunch of people and you're trying to quit drinking, all they do is drink, it's probably not the best circle to be in.
Definitely not.
And also, you do lose, I'm sure you did, a lot of friends who in those moments, man, are like your best friends. Like,
Yeah.
they're like your brothers, like people you would do anything for. And then now it's yeah.
And it's not that you don't have love for those people
100%.
still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's people that, you know, I grew up with and I used with, and not that I don't have love for those people anymore, but if they're still in that cycle of life, like, I'm just not going to be around it.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
I love you. I'll love you from a distance. But my life is going in a different direction, and I want it to.
Yeah.
I want to keep growing, and I want to keep, you know, going on the up, because I know where my life goes when I use, and it's not a good place.
And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up, but I think it's how we said about for men, I think that's why a lot of men have a lot of problems with addiction, is we have to like suffer alone, and we have this mentality of like, we have to do it alone, we have to figure it out alone, we have to get help alone. And so I think it's just this cycle of, you know, behind closed doors, we are really struggling, you know, like even for me on my personal journey, like I feel everyone I remember even saying, like, when I was struggling with alcohol or whatever it was like, oh, you like what? You know what I mean? Like, or you tell people you don't drink. It's so interesting. We're talking about alcohol, like it's the only drug, you know, you have to explain why you're not doing it. You know?
Yeah, it's so socially acceptable.
So socially
accessible everywhere, you know.
And everyone goes out for happy hour. Hey, you want to go out for a drink? And I remember how you said with your circle, like I was in Denver and I go back to see my friends and we're all sitting together, and I remember they're just talking about like the Coke bender that they've been on and this and this and this and all that stuff. And, you know, we're out having drinks and my friend's like, Kyle, you've been really quiet. And I was like sitting there and I'm like, it hit me. That was the first time in from my journey where I was like, I don't have anything to resonate with these people anymore. And I was like sitting there and I remember like calling my sponsor and I was just like crying and I was just like, Paul, like shit, because it hit me like, damn, I'm actually gonna lose like a lot of people, how you said. And like, I love you and I'll still be really good friends with you, but from a distance. And it's, you want something in your life so bad, right? Like you were so ready to say like, this is enough. Like I'm losing myself. I'm losing my life. I'm losing my family, my friends, you know, whatever it is. Like, at the end of the day, you're losing your life, right? Like at the end of the day, the only person that's gonna be next to you when you die is yourself. And so like, if you're losing your own life, like I was too, it's like, whoa, you know, like I can keep going, like how you said, I'll either be dead and or I won't be here. And if I am here, it's not going to be a pretty situation.
No, not at all.
It's not going to be what you want. You know, honestly, it's going to be the complete opposite of what you want. But Rick, I really am proud of you for like taking that leap. And, you know, you have your own business now and you have a beautiful family. And like, you know, that I'm really proud of you hopping up on here. You know, like a lot of men have reached out and said like, I want to talk about it. And I think that's why I really want to have this podcast is men need a platform to like hear how you said resonate. Like I remember going to meetings when I was like in my beginning of sobriety too, and like Thursday is a speaker meeting, and like just to hear stories and like how you said like you think yours is bad, and then you sit there, and a lot of these people, you know, have been using for 50, 60 years, you know, and then you go up there and you're like 29, you're like 28, you said, yeah, I've quit. And almost 2 years, it's like, you know, keep going, because you're like, a lot of my life was annihilated from I don't have a relationship with my kids, or I don't have a relationship with my parents, like the past, like the guilt of like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you sit across from these people and you're like, it really is sad how like, alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, it could be sugar, it could be food, it could be anything. Right?
Anything to take you out of yourself.
Anything, right? And then you realize like, whoa, you know, like it really does affect people, even if you're just using it once a day, and then it grows and grows and grows. Like, yeah, you know. And it's like, I'm proud of you for taking that leap, because it's and like into the unknown, right? Even into the unknown of not like using drugs or alcohol or whatever it is to numb.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was scary to just even think back then that like I had to go without it, you know, because physically, you know, the addiction physically is, I mean, when you're withdrawing, it's probably the worst flu you could ever have, you know, everything hurts and it just feels like crap. And, but once you get past that physical addiction and you can actually move and like get out of bed and stuff, then you start to learn how to live differently, you know, because you can't really change the way you live if you don't change the way you think first. And my mind was so clouded and believed in who I was as an addict that I couldn't picture living a different way. But if I change the way I think and I change my beliefs, then I can start to change how my life is and how I behave, and realize that I'm in control of one thing and one thing only, and that's my actions. I can't control my thoughts. I can't control what happens around me. But I can control how I react and how I behave. And that's all I have to do, you know? And it's brought me to a point where I've built such a strong foundation now that it's like just normal living. You know, I changed the way I thought. And now I can live this life that has been given to me because I got clean. And like you said, I can be a dad, I can be present, and I can be a husband, and I can be a son, you know, because we're always looking for that approval, or like we want someone to be proud of us. You know, we want to feel validated.
Especially as a man.
Yeah, we want to feel validated. And now I get that. You know what I mean? I would come home from working all day and my 4-year-old runs up and just, Dad, and, you know, gives me a big hug. Like, there's literally nothing in the world that, like, people always say, oh, you're going to love your kids so much, you have no idea. Like, and you hear it and you're like, yeah. But then you have your own kids and you experience that feeling. And it's like, I would never have felt that if I didn't get clean. There's not a drug in the world that can touch the feeling you get from, you know, seeing your kid light up when you walk in the door. It's just, like, literally inexplainable.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, like, for even just being a present dad. You know, we talk about it. It was like, it's a full-time job, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Proud of you for, there's just so many, like, holes in everyone, missing from either their father or their mother. And even if you go deeper with that person, you start talking to them, like, addiction is a huge factor of a lot of people, why they don't have a parent, you know, or why their parents aren't in their life or have to cut them out. And I'm in a relationship now, we were talking about it, you know, like, I don't drink, I haven't drank, and I don't smoke. Like, I'm raw in every moment, like, just like you, we're raw, we're present. And sometimes it is a lot for people because, you know, they either are used to past relationships of going out together and drinking, like, or saying something and the person only says it when they're drunk, or they have that, like, one drink loose feeling, right? Like, I'm saying it raw, and it's like, you always get the honest me.
That's like people say, like, oh, I drink because, you know, I'm more social and blah, blah, blah. But it's like you're drinking and you feel that way because you have no inhibitions. You know what I mean? You're comfortable because you don't feel anything. Like, life is uncomfortable. Life is up and down. There's times where it's going to feel great. There's times where it's going to feel bad. There's times where you're going to literally just be on, like, a straight flat where you feel nothing. But that's what life is. Like, my mom always used to say, like, you can't live at Disneyland. You know what I mean?
I love your mom.
Yeah, she's a trip. Like, but it hit home because it made sense. It's like, you can't live it. Like, Disneyland is cool to visit and have fun for a week or whatever, but, like, you can't live there. It's not reality. And that's what life is. Like, you can't be in this constant state of just at the peak because, like, it's just not real. There's stuff that happens. People die, you know. Friends die, parents die, you know, you lose whatever, you lose your job, you lose your girlfriend. I mean, stuff happens in life, and it's just how life is. But learning to live with those emotions and live with the ups and downs is how you get through it.
I think, like, embracing them too.
Yeah,
it's like,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, just as something happens, everything, I feel like, even though it's really, like, it's hard to think about this sometimes, I feel like everything does happen for a reason. Yeah. People come into your life, whether it's a short period of time or a long period of time, and you learn something from them, and they're there for a reason. They teach you a lesson, and yeah, you know, like, you have to rebound, you have to, like, get yourself up. Even, like, you know, instances with me with alcohol, or, you know, you with addiction, whatever that is, right? Like, it makes you have a backbone. It makes you, like, come from something. Like, you're like, okay, and I think that's what this podcast is really cool, is helping, is because it's like, we can all tell a story, and our story will help, like you said, somebody else, you know. And I think that's what's been really cool about this, is just been having people on, telling their story, how they're learning from it, what they've overcome and how they overcame it. And, you know, now you're, like, teaching it, but then also that's healing, for at least it's for me. I don't know about for you, but to talk about it is, like, really healing. And I think even talking to, like, a mic there, I think it's just, this space is, like, it's not just from me to you, like, right now in this room, it's like this space, it can go anywhere, right? Anyone in the world can hear this. And so I think that's also been really healing for this. You're
spreading hope by being able to show someone that you can come from a place of desperation and make something of your life. And I'm not saying, like, I'm arrived, I'm here, I've made it. You know what I mean? I still have a long way to go.
Yeah. We all do. It's just
but I've changed my life so drastically from, you know, 7 years ago. that I really don't even recognize. Like I look back now and I'm like, dude, what was I thinking? Like I can't now with a clear mind. Some of my actions I used to do, I'm like, who does that? You know what I mean? Like I had to have been just completely just brain dead to even think about doing stuff like that. But yeah, I think spreading the message of hope and being able to help someone else makes it all worth it. Like I would go through those struggles again if knowing that coming out on the other side, I could affect someone's life positively and change the way they think and the way they live. Like I would go through it again. And there were times where I didn't want to wake up. You know, I would go to bed and just praying, like, just please don't let me wake up tomorrow. Like it would just make life so much easier for me. And that's the thing too, is it's addiction can be so selfish, dude.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Completely self-centered. You know what I mean? Because all you think about is what you need and what you want. Like in the moment, you know, in active addiction, I was thinking, you know, I really just don't want to live anymore. I'm not thinking how it would affect my loved ones. You know what I mean? If I were to not wake up. And that was another thing too. Like I'd always be like, dude, I'm not bothering you. I'm just hurting myself. But that's not true either. Like you're hurting your family, your friends, people who care about you are sitting up at night worrying, like, are they okay? There's emotional and mental damage that you do when you use to other people, and sometimes physical. I mean, you know, people, I would assume when they're drinking can get pretty physical and aggressive, you know? So it's like, there's nothing good that comes from that way of life.
No, and it's so like how you said selfish is like such a like
super self-centered.
I was dating somebody and it's kind of like, you know, when you drink, it's like all about the me, what I want to do, where I want to go, what I want to eat. Like it's all about your life. And if it's like, what I want to do. And I think it's so, and also you put your family ones and your loved ones who worry. Like we both have really present moms that have been like really love their sons and unconditionally, like
for sure.
So unconditionally. And we were talking about sometimes it can even hurt too overly, like because it's like trying to always fix. Like my mom with my father always tried to fix it for me, but I know I was worrying her right when I was drinking. Or where's my son? Or if not answering, you know, it just is like. And at the end of the day, no one knows the struggles really more than you. You know, no one will know your low point than like I know. And like I was telling you, like no one will know that raw moment as deep and as powerful and like. How low that feeling is, man, is like, it's something I hope like, you know, no one feels, but it's honestly like, it's what woke me up.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You know how low it can go. And like how you said 7 years, really proud of you for that. That's big, you know, like to have to like now to be on top and like how you said, it never stops.
No.
People will tell you, oh, I've healed. Like, no, you haven't.
No.
When people say that, it's a daily practice. And like, even you being 7 years, like I was just telling Cam, like on my trip, like I was triggered, you know, it doesn't go away. Like, you know what I mean? Like alcohol is so socially acceptable. Weed is so socially acceptable. There's dispensary at every corner. Like we live in a society where tapping out is so prevalent, and not even just prevalent, it's like acceptable.
Yeah.
And so if you want to tap out, like, are you sure you don't want to just numb out? Like there's a liquor store right there.
Straight
like, you
up.
Sure? The gas station even sells it right across the street. You know? Like, are you
Straight
sure?
up. It's so crazy too, because like I was thinking about this the other day. I was talking to somebody and I was like, dude, I spent like my whole career like hiding it. You know what I mean? And now it's like, just go ahead wherever you want. Just go buy it right there. You can smoke it and do whatever. It's just like it's a trip to see, man. It's nuts.
But it's like, it's true. Like, it's just so socially acceptable, you know? And I think that's, it's just, it's to sit as a man, to like sit in your shit, to really hone in, like to listen to yourself, to sit with your own feelings, like to sit with yourself and be like, well, like I need to change this. And that feeling, like no one is really, like your parents can help you. Yeah. Your wife can help you, you know, they can help you and say, hey, like here. But unless you want to do it, like at the end of the day, like you have to want it for yourself.
No, yeah, you're not. People aren't going to change until they're ready. Yeah, you know, you can. Yeah. It's like the old saying: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's very true. Like there's been friends I've met since being clean that, you know, are struggling. They get clean and they relapse, and they get clean and they relapse, and you just want to be like, dude, just do it, you know. But you can't. They're just not ready at that point. Until they hit that point where it's life changing, they're just not ready.
I read a book. It was like, because when you relapse, a lot of people, they can like really, really like get depressed, and they even go spiral further because it's like, fuck, I didn't do it. I can't do it. You get in this head. This book said it's like, instead of calling it like a relapse, call it a data point. And I thought for you, someone like listening to this, I thought that was really cool, because on your chart, right, like you're really up here, and then you might like relapse, but you're okay, that's a data point, now I can go back up, instead of just, because people really do spiral down.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, that's the biggest thing, is you build that backbone. Like you have a 7-year backbone of like triggers that you've like, are you sure you don't want it? And you're like, no. Are you sure you don't want it? No. Like, and those triggers get less and less, right? Like throughout the time.
Yeah, the fleeting thoughts go away.
Yeah.
So when you first get clean, it's like you're dreaming about it. You know what I mean? There was times where I would wake up in the morning and I'm like, did I use last night? Like, it was such a realistic dream that I thought I had, messed up and I relapsed. But yeah, you start as the days collect and you keep going and you keep going. Like, it becomes normal again.
Yeah.
Like the way of recovery and clean living, it becomes so normal that you don't even think of it. It's not even a thought anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's
no, for sure.
It's just
Straight
living.
Up. Yeah. And then you like have a life, how you just said, like the life that I've always dreamed of. It's like right in front of you, and you're like not even like in front of you, like you're living it, right? Like you're living that happiness. Like I remember getting up and same kind of thing, right? Like I was just in such a low place to be like, okay, well, it's my day off. Like it's 9 a.m. Let's wake up. Let's have a beer. Like, let's get the day going, and it's like, or you go your day off and you go, you go to the happy hour and you sit with your boys and you sit there, and the next thing you know, it's 7 p.m. and you go to bed at 9, and then you wake up the next day, you go to work. Like your days off are just spent drinking or just like numbing, and it's like, it's fun, but then your bank account's not big, and like, you're spending a bunch of money, and like
Dude, it's the worst.
You're just like, you're going, you're just I feel like you said, like how you're coasting, and it's right, like your life is, you're gonna have a lot of these highs. Like I took a break from this podcast, like I was like kind of feeling this like flat and like a little bit low, but the thing is like that's where the work, you just keep going. Like my spiritual coach calls it chop wood, carry water. You know what I mean? Like you're just in that point where you just chop wood, carry water. Yeah. That's what you're doing right now. Like you're just
monotonous.
Yeah, you're just working, and it's gonna go up. I'm gonna start doing like sober circles. I was gonna tell you that too. Like getting men together and doing like sober men circles, and I'll keep you updated on those. But it just is. I think that's a really cool thing. Is like they're like now talking about it. I think it's more prevalent. A lot of people are quitting drinking. I think alcohol sales are skyrocketing. Like at the restaurant, at the speakeasy, a lot of people asking, "You have any cocktails?" Like people are starting to quit, but it's like it's becoming socially acceptable not to drink. Starting to, I think, you know what I mean, which is really cool to see in like the restaurant business. But I think it's just cool to see people waking up, because like numbing is, you can only do it for so long. You can only act. You have it all together for so long.
It works until it doesn't anymore.
Straight up,
And you said it made me think, you just said, you have the life that I dreamed of. And it's funny because I have the life that I didn't even know that I was dreaming of now. You know what I mean? Because at first it was like, I just want to hoop. That was my dream.
Yeah.
Like even as a kid, like that was my first word was ball as a baby. Like I used to carry around this basketball that was 3 times the size of me. Mm-hmm. So like that was like what I had thought was my dream. But now I live this life that I didn't even know was my dream.
I love that.
And it's like, I'm starting to realize it. It's awesome.
Well, and it's having your kids, man. Like I don't have my kids yet, but
dude, the kids are, it can be a lot, there's days where we struggle, you're almost 40 years old and, your boss is a 4-year-old. So it's like, there's days that are struggles. But like I said before, like the positives of being a parent and having kids and being able to raise the next generation and impact them in a positive way, to where like literally they're your best friends. Like obviously they're your kids and you're the parent, but like the feeling of having this person that like looks like you and like acts like you and laughs like you, like it's unreal. It's unlike anything I've ever felt before.
Yeah, I'm proud of you
for thing.
Being that generational change, like not having a dad and like, not having like how we talked about that blueprint, but then also like now they're going to have a present dad, and so they'll be a present mom when they grow older, like that's how that generational change is. Like I didn't have a dad, and you could use that as an excuse. Like same with, you know, alcoholic. Oh, my dad was an alcoholic, so I'm just an alcoholic. Like, you need to be that generational change.
You got to break the cycle,
because it's going to keep happening, and then your kids are going to be the same way, and then their kids are going to be the same way.
Yeah.
Like, or it's going to be on your kids to do your work. You know, it's going to be your kids' job to do your work. So I think that's where, like, that's probably really rewarding for you, is like, as a father, is being like, no, like, let me show you, like, a different way of life. Like, let me show you what a present dad looks like.
And I think that too, like, is something that I could never, you know, thank the program that I'm in for enough, is that my kids will never know me as an addict. You know what I mean? That person I was in active addiction, my kids have never seen. And hopefully they never do. You know what I mean? I have something more to live for now. And they're a reminder every day of why I got clean and why I stay clean. That's something that is priceless for me. Because I was, you know, a rough person in active addiction. And, I'm just glad they'll never know that person.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you, man. It takes, like, a lot of work to...
Yeah, for sure.
It takes a lot of... You know, I think that it takes a lot of, like, sitting. Because, like, I think that's why that's why I drink. There's so much noise. There's so much, like, also for yourself, too, to, like, just numb. But when you're drinking, like, it's fun, right? Like, you're out with your friends, or you're out with your boys, like, you're just having fun. You don't ever have to sit and, like, you know, like, how do I feel, right? Like, what does my chest feel? Like, what does my heart feel? What does my mind think? Like, your mind is running your life, right? Your anxiety is running your life. It's not you. You're not in control. It's your anxiety and your overthinking. And so, like, that's why for me, it was just so much easier just to, like, and like I was talking about, society is so acceptable to, like, just drink. Like, I think you can even buy it as early as, I don't know, I think it's 5 a.m. or something. I never drink like a 5, but, like, you know, like, and you can drink all the way till 2. So I guess hypothetically that's kind of crazy. There's only 3 hours of the day you can't buy liquor. You can't buy. So, like, it's just so, or even weed, man. Like, it's so, everything is so acceptable, right? Like, you know, if you have, like, a crack pipe in your hand and like, someone says, well, what are you doing? Like, yeah, exactly. But like, you have a beer and you're walking in the street, everyone's come on, like, you want a cheers, you want one? Like, it's like, so
there's not one is better than the other.
No, and we live in, like, a society, like I just said, where it's so acceptable. So to, like, step back and to say, no, I'm not going to do it, is people kind of, like, give you that side, like, whoa, you know, like. And the funniest thing was, like, when I wasn't drinking, they would say, I'm like, oh, I don't drink. Their first thing, bro, was never like, oh, like, that's cool, or like, oh.
Why?
It's like, do you have a problem?
Like, why not? Why don't you drink?
Like, do you have a problem? I'm like, no, do you have a problem?
Yeah, seriously. And it's funny too, because you're like, you brought up the crack pipe. It's like, the drugs aren't the issue. Yeah. You know what I mean? You could be using whatever. It's not that's just a symptom of what's going on.
100%. It's excuse.
Like, the drugs are just, it's just a part of it. Like, we're using whatever we're using to mask whatever we're feeling. So it doesn't matter if it's drugs, sex, you know, alcohol, shopping, whatever the case may be. Like, you're using something to get out of yourself. You have to figure out why you want to not feel, and then you can deal with what you're using.
I got my mentor Paul. He asked me to speak at AA. So I went to, like, on Thursday. It was, like, probably 6 months ago. So proud of myself, Cam, because, like, I went in there and I just, like, spoke from my heart.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, you know, 20-minute presentation. And
oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Dude, ours are like 45.
Really?
Yeah, when we have speaker meetings, it's like 45 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Ours, I think, is 25, and then it opens the floor.
Yeah.
I could have got, actually, I'm like, starting it, I was, like, so scared.
Yeah, dude.
And it goes.
Dude, public speaking is scary, bro. Even if it's, like, 10 people, you're, like, start sweating.
Everyone's looking at you.
Hopefully you say something profound and someone's like, oh.
Yeah, and like, it changes their life. Yeah. Hoping. But, you know, for me, it was like, I could have spoke for longer, but I went in there really tired. I said, you know, this might not resonate with you all, but, like, for me, this is my journey and, like, resonates with my heart. And I basically just said how you just said, you know, whatever it is, whether it's porn, sex, you know, alcohol, drugs, whatever it is, we all have our void, right? But to sit there and say, oh yeah, well, I'm, you know, I like, alcohol is just my void. So I use alcohol as an example. Like, You could just pick up a drink and, or you could even be and just drink every day and that's your void. You could be, I said in this, in my speaker, you could be 30 years clean, right? You could be 30 years clean. I'm not, I used to be an alcoholic. And you could go there every day and say, I'm an alcoholic, and you could hold that self accountable. But the thing is if you don't figure out why you picked up the drink in the first place, nothing's going to change, and you only have done step one. In my opinion, this is what I said. And so I said, yeah, you can sit there and say, I'm an alcoholic. You could yell at your wife every night. Oh, I'm just an alcoholic. That's how I am. Oh, you don't have a relationship with your kids. Oh, I'm an alcoholic. And you could be 30 years sober and still say you're an alcoholic and use an excuse in that for everything, right? But until you sit there and say, okay, so I picked up the drink because of this, and you start dealing with that, right? Whether it's like inner child wounds, or as a kid you have wounds, or whatever that is, or parents or parental or whatever trauma you don't like deal with, and you don't work through it. That's where the work starts.
Yeah, for sure.
You take away the void, you take away that hole. Now there's a bunch of holes in the ground. What are you going to fill that with?
Yeah.
And it used to be alcohol, it used to be weed, or whatever it is, right? For that person specifically. But until you start rewatering that and figuring out why, it's never going to heal.
No.
And so like a couple people got triggered in the room, and a couple people started coming to me, started crying, and it was like really profound, because it was like, you're right. Like I've been coming in here for 5 years and I've been clean, but like, no, you're right. I need to figure out why. And I think a lot of people just take away that and think it's going to fix it. It's not. Like it can for some people maybe, but for me it was like, okay, I feel like that's where the work just starts, and I'm proud of you for figuring that out and figuring out why, because you picked up the drink in the first place for a reason,
right?
To numb something.
Yeah.
And you gotta figure out what that is. But that takes time, like sitting and like journaling or whatever that is. For me, it was a lot of journaling. It was like, okay, just like listen and just journal. Like whatever comes to mind, even if it doesn't make sense, just start writing. Because it's like, it will come at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it clicks at some point. But I mean, not for everybody.
And like how, rooms, I'm sure for you, it's like you pray for the people still struggling. And it really, I think that was the biggest thing on Thursdays, like hearing someone else, like you said, speak and you can resonate is so powerful, because when you're in that struggle, it's like, oh, it's only me. Like no one understands it but me.
You think you're unique.
And then you sit in the room and you're like, whoa. And you hear some of the stories and you're like, dude, my story is like nothing.
Yeah, 100%. I thought I was bad.
Yeah, I thought I was bad.
Yeah,
I thought I was really bad.
There's some stories that'll make you be like,
no, straight.
What? No way. And you understand it though, but that's where the correlation comes from. You being able to hear someone's story that sounds worse than you, even though we're all equal. The correlation, that's where you're like your brain's able to make that connection. Oh, okay, like their situation, they did this. I've never done that, but like, and they're in the rooms and they're changing their lives. Like that's where that correlation comes, and it helps people like realize, oh, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes it almost simpler to think about.
Yeah.
Because when I first got clean, it was like, I couldn't picture putting a day together, and there's people in the rooms with like 30, 40 years. I'm like it would give me anxiety to even think about that far down the line. But you can't think about it like that. You got to just take it day by day, because even if you have 40 years clean or you have 40 minutes clean, like if you use that 40 years clean, you could never come back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All those 40 years are just thrown down the drain. Like you could die. And I think that's a big lesson too, is super important, is that it's life or death for addicts. Like you're either going to end up in jail, institutions, or death. And a lot of people don't realize that, and don't realize it until it's too late.
And then when they're like in it, they think everything's like okay, like how you were just talking about how like skinny you were, and you're like, wait, what? Like you think it, you don't really think
your
about
perception of reality is skewed.
Yeah.
It's like you have no idea what's really going on, because you're so engulfed in this chaos and this just state of just confusion that nothing really resonates.
And you think you have it all together, but like, you don't.
Dude, I look back at pictures and I'm like, God, I look like that, like just face sunken in and just look like trash. But like, I just thought, look normal,
Yeah, well, because you feel like the life you're living is like normal, but then when you step out, you're like, the life that I was living was really fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and you realize it. I think that's like where I'm really proud of you for showing up, you know, like doing this and you know, just like showing up for other men who are listening to this and other people, even women listening to this, because I think like men are starting to wake up. Women need us to wake up. Like they need us men to wake up and start being like present fathers and present in our lives and honestly present in our relationship with them.
And that's a part too that I struggle with. Like even being, you know, 7 years clean, I struggle still with my emotions, you know, and being able to have intimate conversations with my wife, you know. I am a person who always felt like I had to deal with my emotions on my own. And I don't know if that comes from, you know, years of using or whatever the case may be, but I still struggle to this day, like being able to express how I feel. I'm getting better at it. But this isn't like, this podcast wouldn't have been something I did, you know, a few years back. Just because like I didn't, like when I first came in the rooms, I didn't want people to know I was an addict, you know. I didn't want to be like, yeah, my name's Cam, I'm an addict. Like I didn't want to do that. It took me months to be like, I would just say, yeah, my name's Cam. Like I couldn't admit to the fact that, because I felt, you know, shame and guilt about it. And I don't know how to process those emotions, or I didn't at the time. So it's definitely something I need to work on still, even being this far along. Like I'd still struggle with, you know, telling my wife how I feel, or if I'm going through something, being able to open up and be like, hey, like I'm struggling with this, like asking for help. And I think we've talked about it, you know, the stigma for men to be like, oh, I got this, you know. It's a real thing, because like I really do struggle with trying to open up and ask for help. But if I can, you know, open up, then maybe I can help somebody else.
And I know you can, because I know this is like, even just touch people in my circle and like yours too. Like I think there's so many people, how you just said, we don't even know we're struggling because we think they have it figured out, but behind closed doors, like they are struggling. And I think that's where this has really helped people. Like even how you said, even to go back and to redo those struggles, even just to help one person is so, like, it really is amazing what you can do.
For sure.
Just for one person is so eye-opening and just helpful. So like I'm proud of you for showing up. Like I'm proud of you for being the, like, not even like the man you are, but the father you are. I know it takes a lot to like change that generational change, and then also like with your past, like, you know, dealing with it, growing out of it, and like just it's a battle, but at the same time, like you've won, you know, like you are winning.
I mean, it's just a constant battle.
It is.
It's just something that, you know, you never really. My older brother, he's you know, a normal dude, and he'd always say, like, how long do you have to go to meetings for? I'm like, dude, like forever. You know what I mean? I don't hit as many meetings as I used to, but it's like, it's a constant, you know. You're like we talked about, if you're comfortable, you're not growing. So it's a constant state of growth, which makes it uncomfortable, but it's something that is a constant battle and a constant struggle, and it's something that you have to deal with on an everyday basis, because when you get complacent is when you start to fall back into those routines.
100%.
Where it's like, oh, you go back to what feels comfortable and where you're used to being, and that's not somewhere I want to be. You know, it's it's a rough place for sure. So the growth comes from the uncomfortability for sure.
And that's how you grow. Like, and I'm just proud of you for always pushing through it, and you know, like just it's a daily thing, you know, and starting your own business and just having a successful business with family and like, you know, doing that, like walking, you're not even just talking it, like you're walking it, which is so amazing. Like that's why I want to do those sober circles and a men's retreat. And like, you know, I think how you said not being comfortable, like even just this podcast was like super uncomfortable for me at first, like to hear how you said, like, I don't really want to tell people. Like you go into like an AA meeting, you're like, who am I going to see?
Right.
You know, but like talking about it, and then also this podcast, like it just is, we're rippling effects, like we're rippling huge effects into the world more than we think. And I think that's even like a father, that's a huge ripple, right? But like you're rippling it because then they feel like if you're vulnerable, like I remember was it that podcast on Lewis Howes I was telling you about, and the guy said, I challenge you when your friend asks you like how you're doing to actually tell them. And like it's so easy to say, oh yeah, I'm good. How are you, bro? Like,
Yeah.
And then they say I'm good. And so I remember like I was talking about it before in this podcast, but like we're sitting there having a beer. This was like back in college. I was not doing okay. I just broke up with my girlfriend, and he did too. I didn't even know. And we're sitting. He's like, I'm like, how are you? And he's like, I'm good. How are you? I'm like, honestly, man, I'm not doing good. And then he was like, well, what's going on? And then so I told him, he was like, well, now that you're honest, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not doing good either.
Helps other people
and we started crying, and the girl's like, can I get you something? She's like, I'm so sorry. And we're like, no, it's
you
okay.
guys want some Kleenex?
So they're crying outside. We're like, shit. But it was like,
That's hilarious.
but it was like the challenge was like, he's like, well, now that you're being honest, like I'm not doing okay either. But I feel like we always have, like as men, we're just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah,
like, I'm good. Even
I'm
though
fine.
inside I'm fine, but inside you're like really dying, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you for showing up, man. Like thank you for coming over and doing this.
Hell
like,
yeah.
I've been one interview. I think I saw you like it was almost probably a year ago at Whole Foods. No,
Yeah, it was
like
a couple months ago. Yeah.
like 6 months or something. And I talked to you like you on being about it. So like I'm really happy that we did it.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Thank you for coming over here,
Oh, yeah.
man. And we'll do another one for sure. But where can they find you? Like, tell them about
C3 Renovations on Facebook and Instagram. Cam Cacciatore everywhere else. Can't catch Cam 35 on Instagram. Yeah, we do everything for renovations, licensed contractors. Just me and another guy, and we're successful so far. So we're gonna keep heading down that path, hopefully.
We'll support them for sure. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you again for coming by.
Bro.
Thank you, brother. Have a great day. Have a great week. Appreciate you tapping in.